Good evening. Welcome to Friday Night Live. I'm fighting technical difficulties, so bear with me, but I'm the pet man, Matt Morrow. Friday Night Live is sponsored by Craig Fail, the owner of Blackbridge Financial in Palisades. Make sure you check them out. They have some great things that can help manage your wealth. Um, and they really have some good tools to do so. We appreciate Craig's support of Friday Night Live for the second year in a row, sponsoring this special Friday night show. Now, if you've never watched Friday Night Live before, this is your show. I already see comments coming in. So I got some veterans on tonight, but comment about what your team did tonight. Shout out anybody who played well. Give your observations of the games. And that's what we talk about. And we go as long as I keep comments coming in. Typically, that's between 30 and 45 minutes on Friday nights. We've had a lot of interesting scores come in. I'll get the score ticker up here in just a second, but let's go to some comments that we got. All right. We've got, of course, I knew he was going to be here. Oh, man. Our Clover guy, Armani Bird. Clover offense had a 99-yard game-winning drive against Palisades' elite defense to win the game 21-19. The CFI family and Puma fans doubted us, and I assume keep the receipts. That's all I'm going to say. Well, congratulations. Congratulations on the victory. I think we said on the show that Clover is a good team, and I think we've said that consistently. And to go and get that done, and especially in that kind of manner, it's a good win. It's a good win for Clover for sure. And for Palisades, I'm sure they'll take that and go back to the drawing board and figure some things out. But at this point in the season, we're still in the non-conference, so it's not the end of the world. But that's an impressive thing right there. Congrats to the what are they? Eagles, Blue Eagles? I can't remember. Congrats to Clover. Bobby Wallace, it's been a wild week. Yeah. I saw some wild things tonight. For sure. And I saw a few scores earlier, but on this show, if you can share some scores, because there's always scores that I haven't seen, excuse me, that I always want to kind of get out there and discuss. But I'm going to pull up the Max Prep score ticker, which is usually accurate. Not always, but usually. So if you see a mistake, just share that as we get this on the screen. All right, there we go. All right, let me scroll down a little bit. Let me see. Already there's missing scores. Good gracious. All right. Yeah. Spin, you're exactly right. When I saw those scores, I was just thinking back to the show, like, there's no way it's a clean sweep. We said that on the show, and that's what happened. That's what happened. Clover were Palisades, South Point. If you didn't know, South Point beat West Charlotte. I believe it was in overtime, 10-7. That's been reported. And then Irmo defeated Butler. I don't know the final, but it wasn't a close game. So, yeah. So, we had been bragging about out-of-state success, and then there you go. It comes back to bite you right in the next week. Travis Styles. What's up, Travis? Yeah, you see, that was what I was worried about. Yeah. Bandy's is one of those teams that you just can't you can't assume anything, man. And It ended up being a heck of a ball game, 34-29. Mount gave it away. How did they almost give it away? Give us the details on that. Miss Hicks, I see. All right, your son had a nice game. What was the final score in that one? Oh, there we go. Ashbrook 21, Northwest Cabarrus 17. Yeah. This was a playoff rematch from the last year in the first round. And I think this game was a relatively similar margin last year. So these two teams, played competitive football games. And it was good for Ashbrook to get the win up at Northwest Cabarrus. That's a good win. Some people were kind of down on Northwest Cabarrus because they only beat Central Cabarrus last week in overtime. And, one excuse me, one of the things I've been telling some guys tonight that I've talked to is a win is a win. No matter how it happens or what the final margin is or whatever, take the win and be happy. I will take winning ugly over losing pretty any day of the week, man. Any day of the week. And, we've had some quote unquote ugly wins, but take that and run with it and learn from it. It's always good to learn after a win than after a loss. We gotta embrace that for sure. Karen Bell, good evening, Karen. Indy 35, Charlotte Christian 34. Yeah. I managed to tune in to the last play where Charlotte Christian was trying to I guess win the game. They were going for 2 or something like that. And Independence was able to shut it down and get the victory. So what a game right there. I'll be glad to go back and watch some of that film and see the details on how that went down. But both of those teams were coming off a loss, and it's good to see that Independence found a way to win the football game. At the end of the day, that's what counts. They're 2-1 and moving forward. I know some teams tonight that would love to be 2-1. That's for sure. Monroe and Weddington, OMG Monroe. Yeah, I think I saw Weddington won that one pretty big. Was it 47-7? Was that the final score? And there's no shame in losing to Weddington like that. I mean, we talked about it this week. Weddington's coming off a loss. You knew they were going to be focused, locked in, fired up, ready to go. And they played like it. And Monroe, you got to give Monroe all the credit in the world to go out and play West Charlotte and Weddington in back-to-back weeks. I mean, you don't find anything like that almost anywhere across the state, especially as a 5A school. So, Monroe, you don't duck any smoke. They never have, and I'm sure they never will. Now, once they get into their conference play, those games are going to help them so much against similar, competition, and they're going to be ready because they faced some, stress and some strife, and they know how to handle it. That's why you play these kind of games early in the season to test yourself, test your team, and get them to learn how to overcome, adverse situations. That's really important. Trayvon Gaither, Statesville 24, Hopewell 21. Yeah. I got to give it to Hopewell. They are playing competitive football, and coming into that one, I thought this might have a chance to be a sneaky good game here because, there's a perception out there about Hopewell, but that's changing. I mean, Coach Snead has come in there, and they've been competitive from the start, and that's really, really good to see for sure. One comment on Twitter said that there were a bunch of flags in this game. Was that accurate? I've heard different things about officials, but I think they're trying their best There are some times when, especially when there's a supervisor of the officials around, there tends to be a few more flags to make sure that everything's being called correctly. So I don't know if that was the case tonight, but Trayvon, let us know your thoughts on that right there. Nia Lou says Chris Williams with Chambers played well against Harding. Smaller guy playing middle linebacker, but he makes plays. Nia, can you send me his Twitter? Because I was looking for it last week. I couldn't find it. That when you're looking players up on Twitter, it's hard when they have kind of a common name like that. If you got a link to his Twitter profile, please send that to me, and I'll check him out because I was looking for him, but I couldn't find him. So Chambers won that game 31-0. I did see that. Chambers continues to play well. They are 3-0, and they're looking really good. They're looking really good. I gotta take a look at their schedule, and I'll do it on the Tuesday show and see what it looks like going forward, because I'm really interested to see what this non-conference is going to possibly end up looking like for the Cougars. But good job, congrats to Chris and the Cougars for staying undefeated. Jonathan Mitchell, Huff's defense stands strong in Virginia. There's an out-of-state win for us. We own Virginia. 17-14 win for the Huskies over Highland Springs, which is I think it's in the Richmond area up there. I'm glad to see the Huskies go up there and get it done. As we talked about on the show a few years ago, Chambers went up there and got it done as well. Highland Springs, a highly ranked team in Virginia, but Huff went up there and showed what North Carolina football is all about, and proud of them. Obviously they are looking like one of the top teams in the state of North Carolina, especially in 8A right now, which we've seen some teams rise and some teams fall, but they have been consistently strong here from the start, for sure. All right. Lanisha Dowd says she's been waiting for this live. And there's the 31-0 score. Is that why you've been waiting? Yeah, give me some details there. So she says her Facebook's quiet, so I'm guessing some up. Who are you looking for? Because we hadn't got through the scores yet, so let me know. Good evening, Kim. Good to see you. Jaden Jones didn't play. Okay. Find out. You know why? Why didn't he play, Karen? Because that's the first I've heard of that. So I hope he's not hurt, because he's a heck of a talent. Let's see. Shelby won. Yeah. I saw that one on Twitter. I don't know what to say. I don't mean to laugh, but I don't know what to say when you see something like that. I'll tell you, I've been on both sides of something like that. And to Salam Ball's point right here, from what I understand, that game was 74-0 at halftime. And sometimes, you gotta balance your pride versus doing the right thing for your kids, And I've been on the side of Highland Tech before. And I mean, I'll tell you, there was one game where I said, okay, it's halftime. Talk to the officials, talk to the other team's coach. I said, we're gonna get out of here. We were on the road. I said, we're gonna get out of here. I gotta protect my players. We've got a couple games left on the season and want to stay healthy. And most people, most of us as coaches or as men or even as players, you don't want to give up or throw in the towel. But sometimes as a leader, you gotta. It's like fourth and 25. You gotta punt. Sometimes you just gotta punt, man. And I don't know. I don't know the details of it. I don't know, what it looked like or whatever. But Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure Shelby. This was not a situation where they're running up the score. They're just playing the game, and you know when it's 74-0 at halftime, it ends 90-0. You know it's not something that they were trying to intentionally just embarrass somebody. But yeah, yeah, that's something else. I was it was sticker shock when I saw it. That's for the sure. That's for sure. Let's see. Natasha, yeah, big win for J.M. Robinson, 49-21 over AC Reynolds. That's impressive. You know, a lot of people felt like that was going to be a nip and tuck game and AC Reynolds was going to come out on top, but no, J.M. Robinson went up there and they're showing exponential improvement. I'm not surprised to see it. I'm not surprised to see it from Coach Seidel and his team. They got it going last week against West Bears, and now they continued it against a typically pretty good AC Reynolds team up at AC Reynolds. So yeah, there's your best team in Cabarrus County. You gotta look out. You gotta look out for them. Amir Gilchrist, Mountain Island. Yeah, I saw Mountain Island won. They beat West Caldwell. I believe it was 49-22 in that one. So shout out Coach Dub and those guys. I believe that's their first win on the season, and getting things going in the right direction. For those Raptors up in Mountain Island. Good job, guys. Let's see here. All right, so details on Kings Mountain and Bandies. 2 minutes left, through a screen, got picked, almost ran it back, and they forced a fumble, and they had a safety. Oh, wow. Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot going on right there. But hey, found a way to win once again, just like last week against Burns. Kings Mountain found a way to win, and to my knowledge, they're 3-0, right? 3-0 on the season. So hey, take it and run. Absolutely. Yes, a win is a win, AJI. A win is a win. Absolutely. All right. James Johnson, Ambassador Christian versus Asheville. I believe that is Asheville School, not Asheville, because Asheville played Crest. Ended up in a tie 33-33 because they didn't want to go into overtime at the risk of losing and hurting their record. I've never heard of a team just deciding not to go to overtime. What? what is that? How does that even happen? How does that happen? I've never been in a situation unless they brought both coaches together and they agreed on a tie, but I don't know who would agree to a tie. I mean, it's one thing. Now, we were just talking about, ending the game early. That's one thing. But if you're tied up, in a highly competitive game like that, and you don't want to go in overtime, like, yeah, I got to hear some more on that. I've never seen anything like that. Ever. Have y'all seen anything like this? I don't know coaches and players are watching, but someone let me know, man. That's wow. That's a bit crazy right there. Anyway, moving on. Naya, I see your message. Appreciate that. Mike Eddie, Dub C, well, from what I understand, Dub C lost, but I see you still standing strong. Did you watch the game, Mike? Let us know what happened. It looked like a lot of good defense. I saw a pick 6 for South Point. Looks like that was their only touchdown, and then they got the field goal in overtime to win. But if you got some details, man, let me know. I ain't seen many details yet. Yeah, I don't know, LaNation. I don't know that. I've said my piece. I don't know what else to say. Joe Hughes, Highland Tech is allowed 140 points. Oh my gosh. Wow. Lord bless that program. I tell you, that's tough. That's tough. And I gotta say this about reclassification. I believe they're Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Holland Tech's a 2A school, but they're in a 2A, 3A, 4A combo conference, and that's not helping them at all. I know we don't look at individual sports when we do reclassification. Now, I understand that they're pretty good in some other sports, but I mean, they made a football only conference for, whatever reason, for some classifications. Man, I don't know. Man. That's crazy. That's crazy. Elon Sinatra almost also sharing. Shelby broke the record for most points scored by a team at halftime. Good gracious. Wow. That is something else. Yeah, I'm him. We talked about Ashbrook, Northwest Bears briefly there in the beginning. Yeah, and AC Reynolds did lose to Brevard. Yep, that's correct, Karen, for sure. You say the refs walked off? What? Wow. Someone's got to explain this to me, because how can the officials just how does that happen? Unless you decide that before the game, which it doesn't sound like it was. I mean, oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, well, safe travels back from Asheville. that's all. That's before I get in trouble. That's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, winner. Yep. So Nikisha was at Rocky River Berry. That's where we were tonight. Rocky River defeated Berry 22-7 to get their first win on the season. We did some interviews, of course, with the engine, Kenneth McClamrock, athlete Tyrell Bars, and DB Eli Phillips. Those interviews are out on social media now. I'm working on the pictures. The album will be ready tonight at some point, and then pictures will be posted on social media tomorrow morning. Some video clips are already out there on Twitter and Instagram of the scoring plays. Rocky River had a nice run by Tyrell Bars, quarterback sneak by David Echeverria. And what was the third touchdown? Oh, man. See, this is where I'm getting old. And there was another touchdown in there. Berry had a nice touchdown pass from Malachi Rowley to Elijah Britt for their lone score. There's a ton of turnovers on both sides. I'm going to go through those clips, and I'm probably going to just make a post on Instagram of all of the kind of highlight plays tomorrow. So if you're going to look for some clips from the game, that's where they'll be. It won't be a consistent running highlight. I'm going to try to do, for a couple of games, I'm going to try to do some live posting of scoring plays, and I'll get those out there. So, we'll see how it goes. I like doing the highlight packages, but they only seem to do well for the big games. So I'm trying to lean into my analytics here. But anyway, it was good to see everyone connected with Rocky River tonight, and we'll have those pictures and stuff ready to go. All right. Tex Vaughn balled out for Kings Mountain. Yep. Send me his stats, Travis, when you get them, so we can highlight them on Pet Man's players. Karen, you are correct. Number 23 is Jamal Rule, committed to Nebraska. So, yeah, he is definitely a special player. Terrell Pinckney, South Point West Charlotte game was a classic, even with the news from earlier today for South Point. And I'm assuming you're talking about the quarterback going to another school down there. If it's something different, let me know. But I did see that. But yeah, I mean, 10-7 overtime victory for South Point. Yeah, that's defensive struggle, man. Defensive struggle. Let's see. South Point won 34-6. Okay. Who'd y'all play, Tommy? We all don't know. We don't keep up with them. Not like we should anyway. But congratulations on that. Trayvon Gaither's got Forest Hills 36-25 over Community School of Davidson. Yeah. You know, Community School of Davidson, some people thought they were going to be a contender coming into the season. And, I mean, they still can. They still can be a contender, but they're sitting at 0-3 right now, kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit. And, you know, there's smart coaches up there, some good, talented players. They'll, you know, get it straightened out here pretty soon. But Forest Hills, man, Coach D's continuing to win games with some talented guys. Quarterback Oxendines look real good so far. I love Colin Polk. He's a dynamic player, both as a running back and a receiver. So, good team, good football in Union County, and you know, Forest Hills is rolling. Lanacia says Chambers got Palisade. Oh boy. Okay. Well, take a look at common opponents. Both of these teams played Clover. Chambers won at home by 1. Palisades lost by 2 at home. Shaping up to be a good one. Definitely talk about it next week. That might be on the short list depending on where it is. I gotta make sure logistically I can get to these places, man. All right. Good stuff. Chat administrator, huge opportunity ahead of us next week. Who do y'all got? Y'all assume I know the schedule. I don't know the schedule, man. TC Rope. Okay, thank you. Yeah, good job for South Point right there. Oh, we might be there. I can get the Chambers after work. Okay. That's on the short list. Okay. Good stuff. At Huff. Oh boy. I forgot y'all are kind of sparking that rematch up. That's good stuff right there. Lake Norman at Independent. Oh boy, that one's on the short list too. Lake Norman's been looking good. They won big again tonight. I think they beat I believe it was West Cabarrus pretty good. I don't know. All right, let's go to scores because I'm not getting my matchups right here. So we got Lake Norman Charter with North Rowan. We saw Independence over Christian. That was 35-34. That's the final. Sun Valley big over Parkwood 45-0. Country Day 3-0. 31-15 over Ben L. Smith out of Greensboro. East Meck, this was a back and forth one, but East Meck pulled it out 21-16 over Garinger. East Meck's getting their first win on the season. There's the Clover Palisades score. Talked about Weddington over Monroe. North Stanley, close one over Montgomery Central, 17-14. Shaquan, excuse me, was at West Forsyth Porter Ridge. You'll have highlights from that one. It was a close game in the first half, but West Forsyth pulled away second half. Porter Ridge offense did not score in this game. They had a kick return and a pick six, I believe. Shaquan mentioned quarterback Haynes Robitzer for West Forsyth and Moses Morris, running back for West Forsyth, were some really key players in this big victory. So stay tuned for a highlight from Shay Shottam. If you follow him on YouTube, you can, or subscribe, I should say, to him on YouTube. You'll get all these great highlights and everything, the fancy stuff that I don't have time to do. There's South Point's win over TC Robeson. Piedmont big over East Rowan, 47-7. Congratulations to Piedmont on that big victory. There's Forest Hills over Community School Davidson. RV Kell back in the win column, win over Marvin Ridge. Good job on that defense, 15-3. There's the Huff over Highland Springs. Walkertown, Coach Tatum and those guys getting it done, 44-21 over West Rowan. There's Chambers over Harding right there, 31-0. Latin big over South Lake Christian, 63-0. Wow. Olympic winning the Air Traffic Classic, 20-0 over West Meck. Olympic's first win on the season. There's Mountain Island over West Caldwell. Oak Grove over Salisbury. Wow, 48-0. Wow, big one right there. If anyone has South Mac Valentine Ridge, let me know. We'll see how that one came out. Smoky Mountain coming down the mountain, winning 22-19 over Forest View. A game we considered going to, but ended up not going. Hunter Huss pulls a minor upset here, 11-7 over North Mac. So Hunter Huss going to 2-1 on the season. Good win for them. West Stanley big over Albemarle 43-7. Carson big over Pine Lake 41-0. Providence Day big win over Charlotte Catholic. Big game in the private school sector 32-7. There's Statesville Hopewell right there. Hickory Grove over South Lake 27-0. Thank you, Coach, for sending those stats in. We'll get those guys featured this week. South Stanley, nice win, 39-38 over Anson. There's Ashbrook, Northwest Cabarrus score we talked about. And there's Lake Norman big over West Cabarrus, 56-16. They are rolling up at the lake, man. Good win for Mount Pleasant, back in the win column, 28-20 over Central Cabarrus. Cuthbertson over Cox Mill, 14-0. Mooresville big over A.L. Brown, 52-13. Union Academy finding a way to get it done, 44-42 for Lincoln Charter. I do know Myers Park beat Providence by a pretty good margin. There's Dan Robinson, A.C. Reynolds. There's Irmo Butler, 42-14. Irmo over Butler tonight. Let's see. And Mallard Creek goes down to Georgia. Georgia football is a little different, y'all. 63-13. Grayson all over Mallard Creek. Man. Burns, 52-0 over East Gaston. Let's see here. Fort Mill, break them up. Still undefeated on the season. 33-7 over Blythewood. Nice. Lincolnton over Cherryville, 28-0. Freedom big over East Burke, 61-22. There is the South Point West Charlotte game we talked about, 10-7 in overtime. South Point winning that one. We talked about Shelby Highland Tech and that score. Let's see. East Lincoln continuing to win big, 49-21 over Newton Conover. Hickory big over Bunker Hill. Watauga huge over Mount Airy. Wow, 61-7. Wow. Let's see. Maiden over North Lincoln in a wild one, 54-36. Good gracious. Let's see. Roseville in the win column, 38-20 down at Richmond Senior. Good win for Roseville, getting it going. Crest over Asheville, 56-12. There's the Kings Mountain Bandy score we talked about earlier. Let's see here. West Lincoln big over Bessemer City, 50-15. Wow. Okay. Interesting scores tonight. Interesting scores. All right. Finishing up in the comments here. We had some come in while I was running them down right there. Let's see. Got a shout out here from Eden Rock South. Myers Park, Josh Falzerano Jr. and the O-line. Yeah, we talked about that on the show this week. That's a big deal for Myers Park. As long as that offensive line is blocking well and they're able to run the football consistently with Josh, that just opens up everything. Like it just makes a defense have to play, honest. You can't, try to cheat guys down to play the run or try to double somebody on the outside, because they got guys that you got to account for. But it just makes it, really, really tough, and that's when you see your best teams, when they can run and it opens up the pass and you got talented guys on the outside and you can't slide or roll coverage because someone else is going to beat you on the backside. They're a good football team. They're a dang on good football team, man. Chat administrator Reagan Blank in Reedsville wasn't on my bingo card. Yeah. Well, Reagan, I know they started slow, but they were projected to be a pretty good team this year. And, like we've talked about, well, we haven't talked about, but like it's been said, Reedsville is not as, deep across the board this year. So that's starting to bear out a little bit. But they're still going to be it's no one you want to see come playoff time. That's for sure. Trayvon Gaither, Allen Bruno Jones had another big game. Yeah. I would love to get some details on that for sure, because he's cooking. That whole program's cooking. They are really on fire, man. Let's see here. Thank you, Travis, on the stats for text right there. So Coach Marsh over at Berry, I do want to shout, and I was gonna do that when I broke the game down. Thank you for those names because I was gonna try to go by your roster, but that I'll use that. So Barry's defense did play very well tonight. Like Coach said here, 4 interceptions, 2 by Noah Brown, and 1 by Saron Cooper and Winston Gibson. So yeah, Barry played very well on defense, for sure. So I'll make sure I shout those guys out, especially the Noah Brown and um, Dalen Taylor, number 51, also I thought played a really good game defensively for Barry. So good job, Coach. Keep grinding over there, man. Thank you, Chat Administrator. South Iredale with the win over Hickory Ridge, 21-14. Kings Mountain. That's that Charlotte Catholic. Yeah, that should be a good game. That should be a good game for sure, man. For sure. This Myers Park over Providence, 45-7. Okay. I believe I saw that too. So shout out to Mustangs, man. They're rolling. They're rolling, man. Impressive. Let's see. Yeah, I mean there's no fault for that. You know, Mallard Creek has been playing well, and hey, sometimes the dog gets you. Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so now Coach Dub on the Wednesday show, Football Focus Weekly, has started a Gaston County segment. So I'm sure he'll have something to say about Hunter Huss beating North Meck next week. But yeah, it's a good win. North Meck was rolling. It's a good win for Hunter Huss for sure. All right. Yeah. All right. I think that's it for Friday Night Live. I appreciate you guys as always. If someone played well and you have stats, DM them to me on Twitter at Petman704. Or you can tag me in the post on Twitter. Twitter is the best way, but you can send it on Facebook. You can send it on Instagram if you like. Like I said, we'll have pictures tonight in the album from Rocky River and Barry. There's some highlight clips already out there, but more highlights will come tomorrow. Just clips of some of the big plays in that game and one post on Instagram. And then we'll see you on Tuesday for Between the Lines, our Tuesday night show, 8 o'clock. Thanks for watching, guys. Good weekend. Go Panthers. Let's get it done in Jacksonville.